ninjas, they get in and they get out, they make a big impact, but they're sort of silent in the background when they're doing it. And that is what I want for my teams. I want my teams to really believe in themselves, share that impact I facilitate. They get all the ownership of their accomplishments and they have that transformation that they believe in. And I'm on to the next place.
Today, I am excited to welcome Kirsten Gallagher and Adam Lawrence to the show. And this is a super fun episode. So Adam's been on a number of times, so regular listeners probably recognize his name. But Kirsten and Adam both kind of go by this moniker of a Kaizen ninja. They both do. And so when they stumbled across each other, they had to connect with one another and kind of get each other's story. But we thought it would be fun to have them both on to sort of talk about their journeys and what they're up to with continuous improvement. And so that's what we do. We sort of dive into both of their stories and then also their approach. They're both do a lot of Kaizen event facilitation, both of them do. And so we sort of talked about how they both go about it and if there's any differences to their approach and kind of how they keep things fun and light and really just kind of dive into their individual styles. So it was a really good episode. I enjoyed it and I think you will too. Show notes can be found over at gembapodcast.com. Look for episode 586. Again, gembapodcast.com. Look for episode 586. Okay, enough for me. Let's get to the show. Kirsten and Adam, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Great, thank you.
Great, Ron. Thanks for having me on again.
All right. Well, yeah, Adam, we were just talking that you've been on, what is this, like your 28th time now or something like that? I don't know.
We're approaching infinity. No. This is the dozen. I think this is number 12.
Wow, man. We got to get like a t-shirt or something for you, but I don't know, man. We keep thinking about it.
Saturday Night Live, they get the host that's been on 5 times. They get a whole jacket. So what are we waiting for? It's time.
Man, that's a good point. Good point. All right. Well, so Kirsten, I don't know if you've listened to the show or not, but we do like to get things going right out of the gate with our guest sharing a quote. So do you have one?
Absolutely. All right, I'll dive right in. This is a Bruce Lee quote. If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. And that is so relevant for where we're headed today.
Nice.
Can't wait to talk about it.
And Adam, I know you got one.
All right, so I thought, hey, I might have the same one as her, but I absolutely do not. This is the Greek philosopher Diogenes, who said, "We have 2 ears and 1 tongue so that we would listen more and talk less."
Interesting. I've heard 1 mouth, but I've never heard 1 tongue. It's interesting. The tongue is, I guess the tongue is what makes the thing sound the way it does. I don't know, your voice.
They spoke differently in 400 BC, I think.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, good stuff. All right. Well, Kirsten, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background and how you first got into all this continuous improvement stuff. And then, obviously the theme of this interview apparently is something about a Kaizen ninja face-off or something like that. So I don't know what's going on with all that, but so you'll have to maybe open up with that as well.
Absolutely. Well, my business is Kaizen Ninja, and I am the Kaizen Ninja. And Adam reached out to me probably 6 months ago now. And he's like, hey, I came across your social media profile on LinkedIn, and I call myself the Kaizen Ninja too. We've got to meet up. And so Adam and I had the coolest opportunity to meet up and chat. And the synergy there was amazing. And I'm so thankful to have been able to meet Adam and just learn about how he's a little further ahead of me in just executing continuous improvement and building his consulting business. But I was very inspired. So I'm glad we had the opportunity to meet. Adam, do you want to share anything before I kind of start, share my background a little bit?
So I have a little different perspective on that, but I'd like you to share your background first, give you that opportunity, and a little, because this is the challenge of what happened after I reached out was kind of interesting, but we'll let her do that.
You can tell the next phase of it. So I actually went to college at RIT and graduated as an industrial engineer. And in my first co-op experience, or not in one of my co-op experiences, I learned about Kaizen events and I absolutely loved it. So when I went to my first job at Abbott in Southern California, I had done a whole variety of different lean opportunities and Six Sigma. And there was one area, the QCRI, the receiving inspection area, that was struggling. And I proposed to do a Kaizen event with them. And it was a little outrageous because I was 23 years old and there was no background of Kaizen events. Everyone in the area was much older than I am, had so much more experience than I did. But the managers took a risk on me, the team took a risk on me, and I went in there and we transformed their job shop mentality into an assembly line flow, and it changed everything. And I was hooked from that moment on with Kaizen events. And a majority of my career for corporations was surrounding Kaizens. But now that I branched out with my own consulting business, that is my bread and butter. And it's what I'm most passionate about.
And what's the name of your consulting business then?
Kaizen Ninja.
It really is Kaizen Ninja. Okay.
It really is Kaizen Ninja.
Okay. All right, Adam, you're up.
Well, it's hard to beat that. So if you Google it, she's who comes up first. And I was like, wait a minute. So that happened to me. So I'm the managing partner of Process Improvement Partners, and that's just to say it's me, my wife, my kid, and my dog. But eventually, when we achieve global domination, then that'll sound a little better. But I help businesses grow their profits through sustainable process improvement. And for those that have seen me before, the last 7 years I've been out on my own, and all I'm doing is Kaizen events because they can be life-changing, they can be exciting, they can be just amazing experiences for everybody. So my side of the story is, yes, somehow I found out there was another Kaizen Ninja in the world. And actually, when I first started calling myself, that was probably 2018, 2019, somebody reached out to me and said, hey, man, I was that. Well, I don't remember who that was. So, okay, sorry, dude. I don't think he trademarked it, so nor have I. And that doesn't matter. But anyway, so I find Kirsten and I reach out and I said, hey, that's really cool. And we talk and we had this really nice chat and learned about each other and different concepts. And then just for fun, I send her one of my little squeeze toy ninjas that I give out to all my team members. Well, she took it and made a LinkedIn post and made it like this challenge, like he's trying to challenge me to some kind of ninja face-off. We got to figure out something. So fast forward, here we are facing off on Gemba Academy, just to share our Kaizen Ninja views with you, Ron, and your audience.
Okay. All right. Well, so what is this whole ninja thing all about? Like everybody listening knows about Kaizen and they probably know what a ninja is, but so what's up with that? And both of you are describing yourselves using these words. So what's up?
What is a ninja? What did ninjas do in feudal Japan? They went in and got things done when no one could see them. Okay. And typically not the most positive of things. All right, so they took care of stuff. The reason why I call myself a Kaizen Ninja is that the whole goal is that the team owns their solution. So the goal is that I'm not even there, that everything that happens is for them, with them, in their space, in their time, the whole idea. So I've tried to hone my facilitation techniques to that point where they're so into it and engaged and owning of it that when I walk away, it sustains. Okay, mm-hmm. So that's my image of the ninja, and I like to play around. I like silly stuff, so I give away the little squeeze toys, and everybody, I make them compete for them, and by the end, a few of them even call themselves that. So that's kind of fun. That's my vibe.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that, Adam. I'm actually so similar, and I think this is why we had such synergy when we even first met. But from my perspective, ninjas, they get in and they get out, they make a big impact, but they're sort of silent in the background when they're doing it. And that is what I want for my teams. I want my teams to really believe in themselves, share that impact I facilitate so that they are presenting at the end of the week. They get all the ownership of their accomplishments and they have that transformation that they believe in. And I'm on to the next place. So hopefully that sustainability really happens, just like Adam said, because they have taken on that responsibility for their own area, their own transformation, and they're really proud of the results that they've achieved that In a lot of places that I've been, they didn't even believe it was possible to get 6 months worth of work completed in a week or less. And so it's just so powerful. So that's in such a similar thought. That's where ninjas came for me too.
So I'm wondering, I'm sure Adam and I have talked about this over the years, but so I'll direct this more to you, Kirsten. I'm wondering, like, my thing with Kaizen events, and I've also, over the years run a lot of them, and it's always interesting. There were many situations where I would roll up on the Monday morning or whatever it was when we were getting going, and I didn't always know everyone on the team, that was going to be on there, but sometimes there would be an individual kind of sitting over in the corner and their arms are crossed, kind of looking down at the ground, and you can tell they're not real excited about being part of this thing. And I'd be curious if you've also experienced that. I'm not calling out any of your clients or anything like that, but if so, like, what is your style? Like, what did you do?
That's so weird. I've never experienced anyone who's not interested in full experiential transformation. So I wouldn't say that it's that common anymore. I think I've actually done a ton of positive growth with developing the charter and really working with the leadership to pick just more supportive team members. But sometimes having those individuals in the room is actually one of the best scenarios, because they'll bring up some other sides that of the challenge and the operation that I don't think other people are always willing to speak about. And so my process is actually the same whether there's a naysayer in the room or not. But one of the things that I really feel like I've been able to develop over time is some strength around during the current state process and brainstorming process in particular. So like when we're brainstorming those challenges, the gaps, the opportunities in their process, I really lean on that person to voice some of the challenges that other people aren't going to mention necessarily. And so when we walk through the current state, they're the ones who are going to start off that process and say, hey, this isn't working. And I actually kind of lean into that and I say, if we thought it was working, we wouldn't be here. So let's figure out what these challenges are. And then I'll take it from that individual and I'll really open it up to the full team. And that'll sometimes allow the rest of the team to vocalize the challenges that sometimes they might have danced around otherwise. So I really appreciate that. The last thing that I would say that is kind of critical in the implementation phase is I will particularly frame things as a pilot. Most of my Kaizen events have some form of piloting anyway, but in those types of situations where somebody might be a little more resistant to try something out, I will absolutely say, hey, let's pilot this, let's collect data, and then we're going to tweak it anyway. So let's try it out together. It's not permanent. And that kind of helps them say, oh, not everything's changing. And then I get some buy-in. And I think that's where they felt misrepresented in the past, is when they don't have buy-in or ownership. So I'm definitely working towards supporting them in that.
Adam, you got anything to add to that?
I get grumpy people all the time. Maybe it's just my sparkling personality. But the reality is, it's exactly what Kirsten's saying. The thing is, you engage them, right? So you and I, many moons ago, talked about some of my Post-it note style approach where everybody they have a voice. They have no choice but to have a voice. And I do want to share just a quick story because it's very similar. Had a gentleman, one of the nicest, largest people I think I've ever had, bodybuilder style large. Okay. And we're organizing a maintenance shop.
He's like, no, I think I'm going to 5S that, Adam. No.
Right. And what we found out was this guy was trying to find stuff in a shipping container on the facility grounds in the middle of the night in bad weather, okay, and just outrageous conditions. So very early into the thing, he was able to show us how horrible that was. He never said it that way. This is his job. This is what he did. And so he started to really get into this thing. And I was helping move literally thousands of parts inside for him to look through and for us to look through and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, I have everybody talk about how their day was, and we do Kaizen newspaper, which is basically a real quick status review, and everybody has to rotate. So everybody has to play. I start them playing 2 minutes into the first day, Monday at 6:02 a.m. Everybody had to talk about stuff because that's when we kicked off. So this dude is talking day 2. He's up there talking about stuff, and he's been getting into all this stuff. He was very quiet very early. And my sponsors were sitting there, and he leaves, the team leaves, and they come up to me and they said, "What did you do to Gene?" I said, "What do you mean what I do to Gene?" He said, "He's worked here 6 years. He's never said more than 2 words in front of anybody." And I said, I don't take this wrong. We listened to him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Holy crap. And by the end of the week, the dude was presenting the report out. I always have the team present because I'm the ninja. I'm not supposed to do anything. I create their report out. They tell their story. I'm just creating it around their story. And he was presenting. And the people were slack-jawed because nobody in that room or on the team's call had ever heard him say more than 2 words in 6 years.
Yeah.
And so I love that kind of participant because now everybody realizes, hey, this is not for the facilitator. This is for us.
Man, it reminds me, like it's been a minute since this happened, probably like 25 years ago or so. But I remember to this, like it was yesterday, this particular event. I don't even remember exactly what the event was about, but I remember this young man, and he was what we would call that cave person, citizen against virtually everything, right? Just negative, didn't say anything, wouldn't even look at you. And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. And so my style was just, I just sort of, I won't call it ignored, but it just kind of involved, whatever, and just sort of let them do what they wanted to do to be part of the thing. And by the end of it, they were fully into it. And I remember at the report out, he came up to me and he said, no one has ever, listened to my ideas the way you guys did. And so really it was more of I feel like was probably like a defense mechanism of this young man, right? Like he had been sort of like, I don't know, almost hurt, if you will, so badly for so long that he didn't want to be rejected anymore. Right. And man, he was crying in the report out. I'll never forget it, man. Yeah. And so, I mean, the work that we do it can really change people's lives. And I know you both know that, but, so yeah, everybody listening, when we're out there doing this stuff, it's just more than just, I mean, Kaizen's easy. Come on, anyone can do it. Right. But getting people's hearts and their souls to sort of get into it, that's kind of the art, man. And I feel like the best facilitators know how to sort of touch each person's heart, and you got to touch it in different ways sometimes. What do you guys think about that?
The heart is really, so it's so interesting because I come into different processes where there've been layoffs. People are overburdened, they're overworked, they've taken on more than one job continuously, and they are so stressed. And that first Kaizen event that I shared with you, that was actually an environment. There was several rounds of layoffs, and the team at the report out, it was unbelievable. There was one lady who stood up and started crying in the middle of the report out. And she said, "This didn't just change my job. This changed my life." And it just pulled on my heartstrings. I can remember that moment. And that is the piece that I think people forget or don't realize. When someone is living with challenging processes every day and they're trying to meet their numbers, or they're trying to have good quality output, whatever the scenario is that they're being judged on, but they are handicapped and they can't meet it for whether they're overworked, whether they don't have the parts they need, whether whatever part of the process isn't flowing, they essentially carry that burden every day. And the Kaizen event, which is what I love so much, is where you're able to actually shift that and give them the opportunity to take back choice within their processes and immediately open up the possibility for them to be successful in an area that they haven't been for a long time, and they've been judged against it. And so that's the heart piece that I think keeps me in this. But then also it shares with other people that inspiration. It's spreads. It's the ripple effect from one individual to the rest of the culture.
Well, then that person who is overburdened and overworked and stressed out and whatnot at work, guess what happens when they go home? They bring it home. right? You can't not help it. I mean, cortisol's still flooding their body, right? And so this work goes even beyond the 9 to 5 or whatever it is, right? So yeah, no, that's awesome.
Well, and I would say, just to add to that, I mean, like you, Ron, I noticed the moment that somebody took it so personally. So this was about 22 years ago. I do remember it. And what I said to myself was, okay, I don't need tears, but what I really want is somebody to be changed, impacted personally and deeply so that they can take it home with them and make their lives better, not just their work lives, but their lives better. And we don't get that all the time.
Right.
But when we do, I mean, that's what energizes me. You know, I've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
And I really don't, I don't need to work. But I love to work.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really neat is when the word love comes out in the feedback that we get. I love what we did here. I love that you listened to us. I love that we did that. When the word love comes out, that's almost one of my KPIs. It's like the raw feedback at the end of the event, or just the words that they say in front of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And our teams, to be quite honest with you, sometimes I wonder, who are these people that they gave me, because I design it in a very systematic way, but the leaders still pick and choose. These are the ones we want, because Adam has told them the core that does the task every day is the team. Mm-hmm. And then the rest are the support. They're on the team also, but this is the critical team. So if John doesn't like Mary, I don't know that going in, and I've never met John nor Mary, but we're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
But if we can impact John in a positive way and Mary in a positive way, not that they like each other anymore, but the fact that the event, the Kaizen itself, impacted them and impacted their customers, their coworkers, etc.
Yeah.
Then that's the true energy and impact that us Kaizen ninjas can create.
So I know that you've both worked with each other, at least a few times. So I'd be curious to hear if there's anything, I don't know, sort of like unique or specific about each of your styles, about how you go about this, because you're both trying to do the same thing, but how do you go about it?
Well, Adam, why don't you kick it off with your unique styles, and then I'll jump in. We actually haven't worked together, though. We've only just had a few calls together.
Yeah, I was intrigued and she's got a different vibe than I do, even though we're doing the same thing. So if you go on my website, you're going to see lots of cartoonish looking things, Kaizen Ninjas and Kaizen Ninja Institute and all sorts of fun, crazy things. It actually fits my thinking about Kaizen needs to be simple, easy, and not scary. So people, if they're having fun, they don't recognize that this is really tough work. This guy, Gene, and his team were working 10 to 12 hours every day, and we literally filled up 3 30-yard dumpsters of stuff. That's physically demanding, mentally demanding, but they were having a blast. Mm-hmm. So when they were late, if you were ever a minute late to come back to the room on a given time, you either sang one of 4 songs or you did push-ups, or we came up with something else ridiculous. And the 4 songs were The Wheels on the Bus, Old MacDonald, Itsy Bitsy Spider, or Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, nice.
So you get to choose. I had one group, they did the Macarena because they were like, we don't know any of these, but we'll do this. So I don't care because they own their accountability. So my whole vibe is I do a lot of silly stuff because, hey, if I'm that silly, then maybe it isn't. It's not scary. Yeah. It's like bowling. Anybody can bowl. You don't necessarily have to be a good bowler, but you can be a bowler. So that's my whole vibe is, I'm not an intimidating person. I'm telling stories. I'm boring your ears off with this stuff. I'll wear you down. I'm an earworm. I'm in your head. I say things like, hey, let's make it butt ugly by Friday. Okay, well, they start by the end of the week. They're saying that to me. What it means is don't let best be get in the way of better. But Butt Ugly by Friday is a lot more memorable to them, and they can appreciate it, and they can make fun of me.
Yeah.
And if they can make fun of me, they can make fun of each other, and they can have fun with what they're doing. And by the way, they get about 3 times the work done. So that's kind of my vibe. Now let's turn it up. If you look at the image on her website, it's a totally different vibe.
I love your sense of humor, and I definitely go for high energy, and like mindset shift up front. And so Adam, I've definitely worked with a lot of people who have that similar quirky, bring in fun elements to it. That isn't my style quite as much, but we definitely are out there. I'm very much experiential. So how do we do hands-on things continuously? Because to me, that hands-on shift is a mindset shift. As soon as you can see the transformation, that's when your mind is like, oh, now I can apply this to everything. And so I love pulling in different elements into my events that are very experiential. For example, going out to the actual baseball court and building a prototype of the new workstation that we're designing, if that's one of the types of elements. Just doing things that help people see their process in a really different way or feel it in a different way, switching up who's in each role just to try something new, to see like, oh, if that person who's never done it before can do it in a simplified way, just like Adam was describing, then the operator who's doing it every single day is also going to be able to rock at it, right? So those types of just mindset shifts is what I bring a lot into mine.
But I have to say, tell them what the image on your website, the first picture of you, what are you holding in your hands?
It's either a nunchuck or a ninja sword. So I have a background in martial arts. And so I've definitely brought that into some of my elements. And one of my signature trainings is all about the 8 wastes and reducing the 8 wastes. And I bring in an entire nunchuck simulation into that
are
experience.
A ninja.
So,
see, Adam, I don't know, man.
I am a ninja.
It up, man.
I know when she put down the challenge, I was a little nervous.
My nunchucks are sitting on my desk. They're not right now.
I know the next conference, what we're going to have,
It's a showdown.
I can't wait.
It's a showdown.
Yes.
It's great. I mean, it was cool to see same concept, but from a different angle, right? Mm-hmm. Same concept, but she's holding this freaking samurai sword. And I was like, that's okay. I'm going to say it. You can bleep it. That's badass, man. I love it.
Oh, so cool. So cool. All right. Well, hey, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you both for coming on. Maybe we could wrap things up if maybe you both can take a turn to maybe some final words of wisdom to folks out there who are in this lean world of ours trying to make things better. What do you got to say to them?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ron. This has been an absolute delight and a pleasure. Thank you, Adam, as well. So I want to go back to kind of that original quote. If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. And this ties into Adam's that was talking about just don't get stuck in perfection mode. So what can you accomplish? Let's get a move on it and start taking those steps towards change almost instantly, because as soon as you feel that change, it's inspiring to create more of it. So that's what I would love for people to be willing to take that first step.
Adam?
For me, it's all about learning from people in your network, right? Never be afraid to reach out to folks and find out, what's this lady holding the samurai sword, man? What can I learn from that? But I mean, the reality is, had we not, right, here we wouldn't be here, and we couldn't share our beliefs in how to help teams solve problems and win.
Yeah.
From same idea, but the three of us do it differently. And I think that's great. That's what it should be.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And we'll put everything in the show notes. But Kirsten, if people wanted to connect with you directly, what's the best way?
Yeah. You can find everything on LinkedIn, Kirsten Gallagher, or you can just email Kirsten at thekaizenninja.com. Thank you.
So I would say, LinkedIn, Adam Lawrence and Process Improvement Partners, I have 2 pages, but come to my website because I think you guys would get if you like Kaizen Ninjas, right? Check out pi-partners.com. You'll see a little more Kaizen Ninja vibe in there, but no samurai swords. We don't have any of that.
Nice. Awesome. All right. And we'll have everything linked up on the show notes here. So everybody to scroll down on whatever you're listening to and go connect with Kirsten and Adam. And again, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you both.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening. Whether you've been on the continuous improvement journey for many years, or perhaps you're just getting started, Gemba Academy is here to support you. And while we're best known for our more than 1,500 Lean and Six Sigma teaching and virtual tour videos, we also have a team of experienced Lean and Six Sigma practitioners available for one-on-one coaching, as well as a variety of Lean and Six Sigma certification options. To learn more and to schedule a demo, head on over to gembaacademy.com.